the Muslim cars now, whichever I get up. Light up my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag it up. So, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
Mr. Dmitry Salita, thank you very much for giving us your time here at iBoxing Hub. The weather's not looking too bad over there where you are. How is everything?
It's good. The weather is pretty nice. We had some rainy, cold days, but looks like summer and spring is around the corner. So pretty happy about that. And it's foreshadowing what we have going on with boxing as well. So it's all good.
I mean, absolutely brilliant. Saying it's, foreshadowing what's to come, being a former fighter, coming from the amateur, going to pro, and then going to the promotional outfit now, and quite successfully, I might add, with some of the fighters that you've been able to display and get these opportunities. Firstly, obviously, love to send you and your family. I know that you are from Odessa, Ukraine. It is terrible what's going on over there, but just want to send you and all the family over there our love and support.
Appreciate it.
Now, I saw in an interview that you had said that you had a fight with a kid. Obviously, it must have been for insulting him or what have you. You knew early then that you had a fighter's spirit and mentality going through later on in life. Now, you had started boxing at 13 years old once you migrated from the Ukraine to Brixton. Now, tell us some of the. Can you tell us some of the struggles?
To Brooklyn, not Brixton.
Oh, bro. I'm a London boy. Sorry. Yes, to Brooklyn. Now, can you tell us some of the struggles that you underwent going through the amateur system, going through pro? Tell us what had you been through at that time?
Sure. So my family immigrated to Brooklyn, New York, from the Soviet Union, and which is the current Ukraine. Came to the United States in 1991. And, being new in a new country, new language, new food, new culture, my family had no money, so we were on welfare and food stamps. Went to public school, got picked on, then eventually joined Star City Boxing Club, which at that time had some of the best boxers in the world. Monty Barrett, Zab Judah, Shannon Briggs, Louis Collazo, Danny Jacobs, Curtis Stevens, Travis Sims. The list goes on and on and on. Saddam Ali. And just an incredible list of talent that we all kind of grew up, and as they say, iron sharpens iron. It was really do or die every day in that boxing ring. It was a gym that only had one door, no windows, no air conditioning in a hot summer, and I feel it today, but it was a lot hotter than today. No heat in the winter everywhere. Anyway, it was truly the school of hard knocks, and thank God I survived and was able to thrive and win many U.S. national tournaments, including the U.S. Nationals and the Golden Gloves, and I got the Sugar Robinson Award as the outstanding boxer of the tournament. Then I turned pro with Top Rank. It was my first promoter. Then I had Lou DiBella. Then I had Square Ring. It was kind of a break off of Don King. And then I fought for Golden Boy when they were still at their peak. So really, and won many titles as a professional fighter. So due to my extensive career and my love for the game and the fact that I have blood and sweat for it, I feel that I have ownership of it. And that's why I feel that it's important that fighters get involved in the business of boxing, because we invested our being into the sport of boxing. Certainly ones that boxed since they're kids and went through the amateur system and kind of really grew up on different levels. So, while I was a successful fighter, I wasn't as successful as Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather and others that formed promotional companies. So when I started to promote my shows, I didn't have a TV deal. I really had to start from scratch, from setting up chairs to really figuring out and understanding every level of the business. I feel very blessed by it, even though it was very difficult. I do feel that it taught me a lot and made me understand, and was kind of gradually elevated on step by step and climbed the ladder, made me understand different variations and different levels of what professional boxing is on a business level. And I believe that my fighters and certainly the boxing fans benefit from it and will benefit from it going forward.
That's absolutely brilliant. Now, just going on to that, going on your taking your experiences from being going from the amateurs to the pros, and obviously now through the promotional outfit. What what are those sort of experiences firsthand? Because obviously, which obviously will lead into my next question with one of the fighters that you're representing. You have we've all seen that there has been some sort of a issue with you and Jermaine Franklin currently, but from what I can see, it also seems to be quite squashed at the minute. What can you kind of highlight what sort of those issues were with him at the time?
Are you talking about Jarrell?
Jermaine Franklin.
Oh, Jermaine. So Jermaine did not file a lawsuit against me. He filed a declaratory judgment. And what that means is, basically, to summarize, is that when this was Eddie Hearn's show, and I, so to say, gave my rights and handed over my rights. It's called a provision of services agreement for Jermaine to take place, for Jermaine's fight to take place on Eddie Hearn's matchroom show for Anthony Joshua. So basically, what Jermaine's representatives were asking is, well, you're not the promoter of the show, so why are you a part of this? Generally speaking. So then obviously the reason why Jermaine got this opportunity is because I work at it. Actually, because Eddie talked about it at the press conference. And certainly we've invested a significant amount of time and energy and resources into Jermaine. And I'm very happy with where he's at. And he gave Anthony Joshua a good fight, although I felt that he could have won. But I think the lack of experience is what kind of prevented him from constructively understanding the situation and being able to take advantage of it. But he's a young guy. He'll learn and he'll grow. I do, sometimes, and again, I understand a lot of this stuff because I experienced it myself. Sometimes this happened like the week of the fight, and I actually found the reporter that printed the article because I thought it was really odd that this happened the week of the fight. I didn't even know about it. I only found out about it because it was printed in a British newspaper, and this declaratory judgment was filed in Michigan Eastern Court or somewhere. So it was just a little weird, all the different things.
So just picking back up the interview there with a little bit of interference, you were saying about obviously Jermaine and Anthony Joshua, him being young, taking the experience of the fight with the much more mature and two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. That experience in the ring will benefit him immensely compared to the other current crop of prospects out there, because from what I could see, Jermaine does look like a world contender, and with a bit of polishing up, he does seem like he could make an impact, considering how young he is, and considering let's say for example a Dillian White or an Anthony Joshua, they're coming into the latter end of their careers right now. What opportunities would you have for Jermaine now that obviously the everything between you two seems to have cleared up? I think you were saying that he during the week of the fight there wasn't any issue. You were under the impression that everything was okay, and then you got hit with the sort of legal certificates over there.
I didn't. So to be, for the purpose of clarity, I never got hit with them. So it was only reported by the newspaper. So I was never served. So meaning that it's not really official. It's like it's not. It was filed, I guess, but I didn't get served, and I'm not opposed to getting served because to me that the declaratory judgment has no claim. But I'm just saying, for sake of, so that people can understand, because sometimes the promoter, just because you're a promoter, you're vilified, and that's really not true. Certainly not in this case. But in any situation, just think about it. For Jermaine's representatives to file this case the week of the fight, the week before his biggest competition of his life, doesn't make any sense. For me to go to a press conference, for people to ask me, well, Dmitry, what can you say about the lawsuit and about this and about that? I'm like, man, we should be concentrating on Jermaine and what his chances to win and what he's going to do in a fight. Why would you shift the attention to something negative, as opposed to first of all, I only did good for Jermaine, and I'm very very happy and grateful for the job that I've been able to to do for him and deliver on every promise plus that I've made to him when I signed him more than 4 years ago. So it didn't make any sense. The timing of it didn't make any sense that I did not know about it, but found out about it from a UK newspaper. So, I mean, fighters sometimes get surrounded by certain influences and do things. Maybe they know, maybe they don't know. I mean, it's all good. Like I said, we turned the page and I think we're in a good place. And I signed Jermaine 4 years ago. His first fight with me was on television. He's made more than 10 times his highest career payday his first fight with me and the second fight with me, and going forward and his last fight with Dillian White and the fight with Anthony Joshua. So I'm very happy that Jermaine, has made a better life for himself to an extent. And to an extent, I only say because to an extent because I feel like he has a lot more in him. There's a lot more potential in him. And obviously it's up to Jermaine as to what he wants to do. But I feel like he needs a kind of a comeback fight that he's that where he'll get a chance to work on some new things, ingrain the experiences that he's learned, and move on to the next level. And big time boxing is coming back in the city of Detroit. We're doing an event June 3rd with Clarissa Shields at Little Caesars Arena, which is a gigantic, beautiful arena, home of the Detroit Pistons and the Red Wings, both major league teams. Has WWE and the UFC and all the major league concerts. It's really, Rod Stewart just played in there. It's really a phenomenal venue, and it's the first time that boxing is gonna happen in this beautiful arena, with Detroit having such a rich history of boxing, and with Clarissa opening up that building for boxing is really significant. And again, the card is gonna feature lots of incredible local talent and very competitive fights. So I do believe that, and so far the promotion, the ticket sales, the interest in it, locally as well as nationally, is going really well. So I believe that there's a possibility for Jermaine to fight in Detroit, which I think would be very good for him. He's from Saginaw, Michigan, not too far from Detroit. But I feel like the heavyweight division is in a bit of a flux, with all the big guys wanting to fight each other, and it still hasn't kind of worked itself out because Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Usyk still haven't kind of worked it out where everyone's going to fall. And I think that that once that happens, it'll give Jermaine an opportunity to improve himself, get a couple of wins, and then kind of slide right into one of those opportunities. So, and for which he'll be much more ready for. I mean, you saw what he did with Dillian White, and that was kind of, relatively speaking, on short notice. He wasn't in as good of shape as he was when he fought Anthony Joshua. And I was sitting ringside, and Dillian White was sitting next to me, and and during the fight, he was like, he nodded to me, man, that's a good fight. So, meaning that his performance against White was not a fluke. And that's what I think is important, because Jermaine did not win the fight with Anthony Joshua, but he won some rounds, and he could have won. And I think that he noted that for himself, and he'd be better off for it. His confidence will grow in his corner, in his skills and his abilities, and fighting the best in the world, and only good things can come out of it.
I mean, just going on there further with Jermaine Franklin. I mean, obviously two great showings against Dillian White and Anthony Joshua. Obviously, with Anthony Joshua, we all feel that he didn't really quite, might have been absorbed by the moment perhaps, and didn't quite kind of go for it. AJ looked to have control in the majority of the fight. With Franklin now, and with obviously the Saudi tournament that they are trying to make at the end of the year, they all seem to kind of want to have an interim fight. It looks like Usyk is going to take his mandatory with Daniel Dubois. No one's obviously really sure what Fury is doing at the minute. And as you're right, the heavyweight division is in kind of a flux at the minute. With that being said, if Deontay Wilder perhaps was to have an interim fight, how easy would it be to make that fight with him?
It will be easy. I don't think that's the right thing to do for Jermaine as the next fight, because I think Jermaine, it's not healthy for him to go from 3 hard fights back to back. I think that he'll do well but it'll be better off. Again, Jermaine makes that final decision, but it'll be better off for him to take 1 or 2 fights in between, grow, learn on these experiences, and then come back, bigger, better, and stronger. Older usually is a bad thing, but not in Jermaine's case because he's still so young. So older for him just means being more mature in the ring and being able to adjust the situations and using these incredible experiences that he's had to his benefit.
That's absolutely brilliant there on Jermaine. Going next to another fighter that we had a question on Twitter on Otto Wallin. Seems to have had a bit of a stop and start from the Fury fight. Not really made the impact I would say that he could have had going from that fight with Fury, with the cut that he had given Fury, and it seemed to be one of Fury's toughest fights to date. Now, what's going on with him? Are there any, the future plans? Tell us what's sort of going on.
Well, we had that fight. So Otto had 2 good wins against Travis Kaufman and Dominic Breazeale following the fight with Tyson Fury. And then he was supposed to fight Dillian Whyte in October 31st, 2020, I believe. 21, sorry. And then Dillian Whyte got injured. And, shortly thereafter fought Tyson Fury for a lot of money. So be that as it may, that kind of, put Otto in a bit of a flux. Then Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder. And it's been, so after that, it has been difficult, but we kept Otto busy. He had 3 fights last year just to kind of stay active and keep himself relevant. But it has been challenging to land a significant fight for Otto, but we're working on it. And I do believe that once the situation clears out a little bit, and the Saudi tournament, that's what happens, and the big guys fight one another, I do believe that Otto, with his wins and his performance against Tyson Fury, will slide into one of the big fights fairly well. And we've been having those conversations and working on it behind the scenes. So, good things will happen for the big man from Sweden.
Going on from what you just said there have been conversations with other teams. Can you name some potential opponents? Obviously, Dillian Whyte at the minute is just screaming for a fight after, obviously, his victory over Jermaine Franklin. Would you be interested in a fight? I know that you and Dillian have had some friction in the past. Sure that water's under the bridge with both of you. How obviously that would be quite an easy fight to make. I know that you and Eddie have quite a good relationship. So who would be a potential front runner for us?
I think it's so I think the best one is Dillian Whyte, but I do think that Dillian Whyte is lined up to fight Anthony Joshua probably before the December fight, based on what I hear and read on the internet, but no one really knows. I've reached out to Dillian Whyte's representatives directly, Eddie and his management, let them know that this fighter we're very interested in. Joseph Parker is a fighter we're interested in. I mean, there's lots of not lots of. There's a couple of right fights for Otto. I don't think that there's some other names in the division that are kind of gatekeepers or contender status that are like a slot below Otto. I don't know that it's the right thing for Otto to fight them. To kind of. I don't know. So there are a couple of guys in the division whose name value is below Otto. That I'm not sure that those fights make the most sense for him. I feel like Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua is a big one. Alexander Usyk is a big one. Daniel Dubois is a big one. Joseph Parker is a big one. So all those fights. Andy Ruiz is a big one, by the way. So it's all a matter of the big guys really finding a way and finding a date to fight each other, and this way it'll put some consistency and direction in the heavyweight division, which is what we need. And I got to tell you, the heavyweight division is like no other because it's exciting. People love big guys that can fight. And Otto, although from Sweden, has been living in New York City for the last 6 years, training with Joey Gamache, keeps getting better, and is ready to shock the world.
I mean, like you said, the heavyweight boxing division is just up, down, left, right. I mean, some of the conversations that I've been having since I really kind of got into boxing during, 2010, 2011, I'm still kind of having some of those conversations at the minute with some of those fighters that haven't been fighting. So it's absolutely crazy. But just going on there from Otto Wallen, obviously you just named somebody there, Andy Ruiz, someone we haven't really, we don't really know what's kind of happening. I mean, the mandatory was called by the WBC. Both men seem like they're not taking the mandatory. Have you been in discussions with his team recently?
Well, the last several weeks I did notify him that we're interested in a fight, but seems to be that he's in line to fight Tyson Fury. And if that happens, then Deontay Wilder gets kind of freed up. So, by the way, Otto versus Zhang is a great fight that we love. I did speak with his representatives. Makes a lot of sense. Otto versus Hrgovic is a great fight as well. So those type of fights we're interested in, and I feel like the boxing fest will be as well. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dmitry. So you don't think that Joyce is going to take the rematch with Zhang? Do you think that's wise from him?
I was very high on Joyce before the fight with Zhang, to be honest with you.
I think we all were.
I am very surprised to what Zhang did. I gotta say, I've watched Zhang in the New York gyms, and much credit to his trainer. I've watched Zhang in the New York gyms, and he's been very impressive. And then I've seen many of his fights, and he wasn't as impressive as he was in the gym. But in this fight with Joyce, and with Hrgovic actually, which a fight with Hrgovic I feel that he won. He really put it all together, and he didn't get intimidated. And he's 40 years old. Was a couple of months short of 40, and did an incredible thing. I think one of the biggest upsets in recent history in heavyweight boxing. So much respect to him. He's one of these guys that I feel can beat a lot of guys, but can also lose to a lot of guys because there's something about him which makes it very interesting. Because he's a big puncher, he's a big guy, but he's also showing some stamina problems and looks like he could get hurt. Great fight for Jermaine, great fight for Otto. So it adds, and it's great that a different continent, China, which is huge and has so many people and such a big reach, can now become a fan of boxing and a fan of heavyweight boxing, and kind of probably care about the other guys in the division, because of Zhang's success.
So with that being said, if obviously Joe decides that he doesn't want to take the rematch, and Zhang obviously would be interested in that fight with Otto, would you be interested in actually staging the fight in China and promoting it there?
That'd be fantastic. By the way, another guy that you got to remember who's been crawling his way back is JARRELL Big Baby Miller.
No, okay, right. Before we get on to JARRELL, because I kind of wanted to just end with it.
No controversy. I don't want any controversy.
No controversy whatsoever. I am a true journalist, Dmitry. Okay, I'll have you know.
Okay, good.
So Clarissa Shields, obviously, with an incredible win over Savannah Marshall, incredible win. I, being obviously from England, I was supporting Savannah as the home fighter. I genuinely thought.
Okay, I'm hanging up, man. I'm hanging up.
No. No, wait. The fight's already happened. We're friends now.
Okay, I'm just kidding. No, you're honest, which is good.
I have to be. That's the way my nana raised me. But obviously, with such an incredible win, such an incredible fight, and with a lot of predictions having the edge for Savannah with that KO power and dispersing her opponents, some similar opponents as well to a Shields. With her fighting this weekend, now you obviously don't want to look past the opponent, but I'm not speaking to the fighter. As her, as somebody so close to her representing her, what is the next step? Would a rematch with Marshall, with her coming through her undisputed fight at super middleweight, would Clarissa be interested in going up to super middleweight for that opportunity? I mean, the fight, if both of them comes through, it becomes huge. What's your take on that?
So what Clarissa did in England was absolutely incredible. And I do want to note, people can have. Well, let's talk objectively. Sometimes boxing is it's like math. It's 2 + 2. So let's talk about 2 + 2. Not about opinions. Not if you like. Not if you don't like. 2 + 2 athletics. How fast did you run? Did you run 100-meter sprinting? This is what this is about. There was no fighter that I know of from the United States of America, male or female, that in the peak of who was a superstar, that in the peak of their career went to their rival's country and took that challenge, and then obviously defeated them. So what Clarissa did was absolutely incredible, and I was in the locker room with her, and seeing her change modes and get so competitive and really turn it on, so to say, and to be in that locker room was really incredible. And rewinded a month back, to be there for the Queen's passing was really incredible as well. I mean, in a sad way, but to be there when the country mourns, and certainly significant disappointment for Clarissa and for Savannah, who trained so hard to peak at a certain time and day. It was quite something. So that was a really incredible and remarkable moment. With that being said, I feel like Savannah and Franchon Cruz is a great fight. It's a significant fight, and I feel like if Savannah beats Franchon, that certainly does set up the rematch, and possibly even bigger than it was the first time, just in terms of public interest, because more people know about Franchon Cruz and about their fight, which was so incredible. So I think that all eyes on that fight, and Clarissa has her challenge against Hannah Gabriel's the rematch. She wants to avenge that first round knockdown that happened in their first fight in 2018. So I think women's boxing is in a very interesting space now, and I do want to say that Clarissa is the leader of the pack, is the one that has said to me when we first signed together, Dmitry, make the biggest and the best fights. I want to raise women's boxing to the next level. And every one of our fights has been really incredible. She's raised the bar every time out. And I'm sure that if Savannah or Franchon, whoever it is, does what they're supposed to do, and if that's the best challenge, then that may be the fight that'll happen sometime next year.
Can you tell us why a fight with Tasha Jonas sort of dematerialized? I mean, I would say dematerialized. It obviously came to us within the boxing world just kind of as, I would say, gossip, but not really. With Clarissa saying that she could maybe come down to 147, which I thought was just crazy. Why didn't that fight? Obviously, why didn't we kind of get that fight? Was it due to Tasha just not accepting the money offered?
It was 100% due to Tasha. 100%. Clarissa was going to come down to 154 pounds, I think. But the way it wasn't an issue, she just didn't accept. From what I understand, it was by multiples of highest career payday. But she decided, she did what she did, and I like Tasha Jones. I think I think that she's a positive figure, and I like her, and that's a choice that she's made, and that's fine. So, but the ball was 100% in Tasha's court, and she's gotten a significant offer, and just chose not to take it at this time. But maybe it's something that we can revisit at a later moment, and wish her nothing but the best.
So Clarissa would be willing to actually go down to 147 for that fight. Is that what you're saying?
Well, Tasha is 154.
No, 154. Sorry, I do.
Yeah, I think Clarissa for the right fight, Clarissa will go to 154. Yeah, let's do one more question, man, because I gotta go. Okay.
Oh yes, I do apologize. Right, thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Jarrell Miller. So he's obviously coming back in a bit of a resurgence, supported by yourself, with his last win being against Lucas Brown. Can you tell us what's sort of next for him? What's the plan? is it easy to kind of get other promoters to work with you, or other? How easy is it for fighters? How are fighters sort of taking the opportunity to fight him?
Well, it's been challenging, and I think that the last win versus Lucas Brown was quite significant because he beat a former world champion, and he did it in an exciting way. Showed that he can still be world class after that long layoff. This was his third win in a year, less than a year, and working on securing another significant opportunity for him. So
when you say significant opportunity, is it sort of the level of a Piccoli, that type of thing?
we'd like to. I have really nothing to say at this moment because there's nothing that's concrete. But I feel like it's important to get Jarrell on a big fight card in the United States or in the UK against anyone really, just so that the boxing fans can see him and he can again be asked the questions and he can answer the questions, and hopefully to the satisfaction of the boxing fans. Unfortunately, and again, substance abuse in terms of improving one's performance should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. And unfortunately, Jarrell is not the only one that has faced this challenge. But he did pay his dues. He was out of the ring for like 3 years. I think his last fight was in 2018 before coming back in the summer of last year. So, during COVID, maybe the peak years of his career, I was sitting there when watching Anthony Joshua fight. I was like, man, Jarrell. I was like, man. So we're working on it, man. Jarrell definitely he's from Brooklyn, New York, has a great personality, has an exciting style. Seems to be that he's serious about boxing and knows where he's at. It's funny that he's 320 pounds for his last fight, 326, and he can still fight at the pace and perform, at a high level. That's pretty incredible. So, he still has the athleticism, and there's not a lot of big guys that can move like that and got the swag and the personality. Some things you just can't teach, and Jarrell has that gift, a gap, and the fist. And I know Jarrell since 2006, I believe. So oh my God, it's almost 20 years, man. Knew him when I was fighting. He used to go to my training camps, and I really, from his second pro fight, he fought on my pro show. I told him, Jarrell, you have all the tools to be the heavyweight champion of the world. I wasn't even in the line to promote him. I felt like he should have signed with Golden Boy and with the Bella and with Top Rank, but no one wanted to sign him, and I signed him, and delivered on my promise with the fight with Anthony Joshua. Unfortunately, life happened, but now it's the second go around. Hopefully,
that is quite incredible, Dmitry. I mean, it's first of all, you have a heart of gold. That has to just be said, just unequivocally there.
Thank you.
Because it's a second chance of you, probably fourth, I would say, within the boxing community. So he has, I would say, a lot to redeem himself for, and whether he can do that in the ring from the displays that we have seen seems to be on the up and up.
Yeah, but remains to be seen, rightfully so. So just so you know, the proof of the pudding is in the pudding. So we'll see what the pudding is at. You know what I mean? But at the very least, we want to get the chance to test himself.
Just on that, really, really quickly, only question I'm going to ask on Jarrell, and then I'm going to let you go. There is definitely stringent testing for his last, obviously, opponents, with obviously the relevant testing agencies, right? And for obviously his future opponents.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Oh, you asked me. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. So he did VADA testing for him to get licensed with Nevada State Athletic Commission. He had to do VADA testing for like a year, 6 months to a year voluntarily, which is he did. He did some testing before the last fight, but I do believe you're correct. It's very important that for his fights forward, he gets tested voluntarily and lets people know that he's clean and that he wants to, be on up and up. And that's very important for him to resurrect himself and his brand in terms of the fans, And JARRELL, before this whole thing happened, had a personality of like a huggable bear that can kick your ass. You know what I mean? He was huggable, but he was also a mean guy that mean inside the ring and kind of fun outside the ring. So, but he has to, he does have to. I agree with you. He does have to do what he has to do, and I think he can, and hopefully he will. So,
well, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to hear it from the man himself. I hope I haven't been too on top of you with some of these questions, but Dmitry,
you've been great. Thank you so much. If I can make a prediction, this is the first time that you and I met. I think, right?
Yes.
I think you're gonna be very successful. I think you're gonna be one of the top guys in the boxing industry. I mean, if you stick with it, you got to go through the ups and downs. But if you stick with it, I think you're gonna be very successful.
Dmitry, you've genuinely made my day. Thank you so much, and I hope.
I mean, it's truly. I say this truly. You're articulate. You know your boxing. You're tactful. Yeah, I think you're gonna be okay. All right, man.
Okay, you fired me up enough, Dmitry. But thank you so much. Just on the final thing is
you don't have to put that on. I'm just saying that to you. If you want to, you can. It's up to you. Okay. Okay, good. Okay.
Just the final word from yourself. Obviously, with the fight with Claressa, tell us why we should be tuning in. Go for it.
You should be. So Claressa's fighting June 3rd in Detroit at the Little Caesars Arena live on DAZN. Fantastic opportunity for boxing fans to witness history again. This is the premier venue in Detroit. Detroit is home to some of the greatest boxing names in the history of the sport, and this particular venue has never had professional boxing before. So it's really significant for the city, and every fight of Claressa is historic. She's the Muhammad Ali, the Pele, the Jackie Robinson, and the Michael Jordan of this generation. And this is the first, and she's done a lot of firsts. There's the Joe Louis Fist in downtown Detroit, which is a symbol of the city of Detroit. For Claressa to open up this quote-unquote Madison Square Garden of Detroit for boxing, Little Caesars Arena, is really fantastic and significant. And I believe that people will talk about it for significant time to come. One of the other things that we didn't talk about that I want to tell you is that we're promoting the June 9th Showtime Showbox Hall of Fame Weekend Show at Turnstone Casino. With Ali Ismailov versus Charles Foster. Ali Ismailov versus Charles Foster. Charles Foster in the main event. Ali's in the top 10 in the light heavyweight division. I believe that he is the Golovkin, the Golovkin, Provodnikov.
That kind of brute-esque peekaboo.
Yeah. Well, not peekaboo. No, he's slicker. He's slicker than those guys. I'm just trying to throw big names. Khabib. I would say he's the boxing Khabib, actually, because he's very skilled. He's very slick. He's from the same place as Khabib is from, and he's a very special talent. He's taking on his biggest test in Charles Foster on June 9th. So those in the USA, check it out on Showtime, and those in the UK, we're still making a TV deal, and hopefully you'll have a place to check it out there as well. But take care, man. I gotta go. Peace.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. Okay, thank you. Thanks, man.
You are incredible. Have a great one, buddy.
Thanks, man. Okay.